This mofo happened to be my opponent's week 4 in fantasy football this week. This man, Julio Jones, single-handedly got me a loss and got me to 1-3 this week. He put up 50 points against me. 50. This man had one of the greatest performances as a wide receiver in the history of the game. This man flat out did phenomenal. And I'm just in awe of his performance. 12 receptions for 300 yards. 12 receptions. 12 for 300 yards. I don't know about all you guys, but that is, whoo, I mean, whoo, my Lord. This man is out here getting glitchy, bruh. 12 for 300 yards. I mean, he's obviously up there in contention for best receiver in the NFL. Some people might say it's Antonio Brown. Some people might go OBJ. You know, everybody's going to have their own opinion. You know, me personally, I know I have a factinion, and I know for a fact that it happens to be Torrey Smith. And it's not because I'm biased and I'm a 49ers fan. Why would I lie to you guys? Why would I lie to you guys? We have AJ Green that's having himself a fantastic year this year. Just a lot of guys, but just what he was able to do today just shows you just his pure dominance, man. And he's been, I hear more people say Antonio Brown and OBJ than I do people say Julio Jones. Now, Julio Jones is always mentioned as top 3 or 4, 5, but not too many people I hear say that he's, you know, clear-cut number 1. And, you know, rightfully so, Brown, I think, deserved that. You know, if you go with Antonio Brown, I think he deserves it. You know, he's definitely a monster, and he's definitely not able to, you know, he doesn't have that verticality, not speed-wise, but obviously, you know, just when it comes to being as tall as Julio being 6'3", so obviously Julio just brings another dimension that Antonio Brown just physically can't bring, because he's not that, you know, he's not that physical specimen. but Antonio Brown gets it in. You know, Antonio Brown gets it in. No matter where you go, whether you go Julio Jones, whether you go OBJ, whether you go, some people say, I don't know, somebody could throw Jordy Nelson out there. Jordy Nelson is way better than everybody on the 49ers. So there's a lot of people you can go on ahead and throw out there. You know, the fact is that this man went ahead and had 300 yards. 300 yards. 300 yards. Not only did he have 300 yards and 12 receptions and a touchdown, he happened to do it against what most people would have thought going into the league was one of the best defenses in the NFL, in Carolina. Now, Carolina just struggles. I mean, not struggles, but their struggles continue. Each and every single week, the struggles of that team are continuing. And I didn't see it. I did not see that happening. I definitely did not see that happening. Now, again, there's a lot of beast receivers. You know, Des Bryant, Hopkins, you know, Julio, OBJ, Brown, and all of them. But what Julio did for the first full month of the season, flat out unbelievable. I'll give credit where credit is due. This man is out here putting up numbers like I've personally never seen. I don't think I've ever seen. I don't even know if that's a record. I should matter of fact, let me take a look at that right now. Most receiving yards in a game. I'm not even sure. 300? No, it's not the NFL season record. Willie Flipper Anderson, the Rams in 1989, 336 yards. Okay. So I've personally never even heard of anybody getting 300 yards. 300 yards, man. That, whoo, man, he is a bright star, and there's a lot of if you want to take an Antonio Brown and OBJ, if you want to take a Hopkins, if you want to take a AJ Green, if you want to take those over Julio, I mean, you mix and match, you can't go wrong with any of them. I will take each and every single person I mentioned. I will gladly take my hand out and take all of them. But that boy Julio, something special, man. But let's jump right into the NFL scores and going ahead and talk about what happened. I'm not going to talk about my Niners, but as I'm doing this, it's halftime, and the Steelers are up 22-0. I mean, the Chiefs at 2-1. The Steelers are 2-1 as well. I definitely knew the Steelers were going to bounce back after looking disgusting against Philadelphia, and also them getting Le'Veon back. So that right there is clearly going to help them out. Even though D'Lo did great, he did great. It's not like they, really missed production. But you go from just D'Lo from carrying the load, who did great, but now, excuse me, this damn coughing. But now you have Le'Veon, and now you get D'Lo, who's backing him up, who's gonna have fresher legs, who's gonna have less of a workload. So now he gets to come in and he gets to go on ahead and just be the second guy. When he touches the field, the defense should already be a little more tired. So that just strengthens their rushing attack, by a ton. We have the Bengals beating the Dolphins 22-7. The Dolphins are just, I don't know what to say about the Dolphins, man. They put up 7 in the first quarter and just were completely shut out from then on Thursday. And AJ Green went off. AJ Green went off, and the Dolphins end up losing again. The Colts versus the Jaguars. This was in New London, I believe, right? The UK, if I'm not mistaken. I know I woke up at like 12 noon today, and I already seen the game was played. The Jaguars end up winning, and the Jaguars end up beating the Colts by 3 points, even though the Colts end up putting 21 in the fourth quarter. I definitely thought the Colts were going to go on ahead and get themselves a victory there, and unfortunately, they do not. So the Colts end up falling short. Andrew Luck has 234 yards with 2 touchdowns. Frank Gore had a touchdown. T.Y. Hilton, 7 receptions, 42 yards with a touchdown. Bortles, 2 touchdowns himself, 207 yards. Allen Robinson, 55 yards with a touchdown. Yeldon had 74 yards. And it's just, I don't know. Again, I don't know what's up with the Colts. Again, I mean, Andrew Luck at one point in time, people were making cases that he was not only one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, people were making cases that he was the best quarterback in the NFL at one point in time. And now it's just, I don't know. I don't know. Moving on, we got the Texans defeating the Titans 27-20. And, I definitely predicted that game as well. Excuse me. The Texans got shut out last Thursday from the Patriots, and definitely thought they were going to go on ahead and bounce back, and that they did, with Osweiler throwing for 250, 2 touchdowns. Mariota doesn't have a touchdown at all, but DeMarco Murray rushed for close to 100 yards with 2 touchdowns. He's actually been doing already starting off way better than his tenure in Philly. Lamar Miller, 19 carries, 82 yards, no touchdowns. Fuller had one hell of a game, 7 receptions, close to 100 yards with a touchdown. Ryan Matthews, 82 yards off 2 receptions and with no touchdowns. So the Texans end up improving their record to now 3-1. The Browns against the Redskins. The Browns still struggle to get their first victory of the year, falling to what is now an 0-4 record, and that has to be very frustrating if you're a Browns fan. Terrell Pryor, who had a dominant week last week, still puts in a decent week. He does. I mean, not decent. Like, anytime you get a touchdown, it's a good week. But decent as in, 5 receptions, 46 yards with a touchdown. Barnage, 7 receptions, 57 yards. Kirk Cousins threw 3 touchdowns, 2 of them being to Reed, who I happen to have on my fantasy team. Definitely had himself a big game. Matt Jones finally gets it going on the ground. 22 carries for 117 yards with a touchdown added. So I think that is going to definitely help this team out because Kirk Cousins seems to be the real deal, man. He seems to go on ahead and just do what he needs to do to win. And if you can add Matt Jones in there, and if he can be productive and get 75 plus yards a game, I just think that's just going to make them an even better team if he can consistently bring that to the table. Next game, the Seahawks versus the Jets. I mean, who in their right mind had the Jets winning 27-17? The Jets falter, and I think Ryan Fitzpatrick was the first quarterback for the Jets to throw 3 interceptions back-to-back weeks since like 89 or something like that. I seen it on Twitter. Russell Wilson, big game, 300 yards with 3 touchdowns. Jimmy Graham, 6 receptions, 113 with no touchdowns. Baldwin, 4 receptions, 54 yards. Matt Forte struggled. 14 carries, 27 yards. You want to talk about just being dominant and stopping the opposing rushing. 14 carries for 27 yards. He averaged slightly under 2 yards a carry. If you're going to be able to make the Jets one-dimensional, it's not like that helps too much because you got Brandon Marshall, you got Decker you have to worry about, and Brandon Marshall with 4 receptions, 89 yards and a touchdown. Brandon Marshall and Decker are, a top tandem in the league. There's not too many teams with a better 1-2 punch than those two. But if you don't have to worry about the run at all, and you got that secondary like Seattle does, and they know that Matt Forte is not going to do anything, then that's when, you're going to force them to pass. You're going to force them in second and long, third and long situations, and you're going to go on ahead and pick Ryan Fitzpatrick off, who likes to find his opposing defense. The Bills shutting out the Patriots. Who would have thunk this? Who would have thunk? I believe I chose the Bills if Garoppolo wasn't starting, if I'm not mistaken. But I definitely like the Bills if Garoppolo wasn't starting. And, he wasn't. He was inactive this game. He's pretty much going to be inactive for the remainder of the season unless he gets traded because Theodore Brady is coming back next week. So that's definitely a bright spot. And the Patriots are 3-1. Still lead, they lead the division with Tom Brady coming back. So you got to love that. Brissett with 205 yards. He did have a lost fumble. LaShawn McCoy, I believe, totaled, if not 100 yards total, close to it. 19 carries, 70 rushing yards. He did add in a receiving touchdown. Tyrod Taylor, 246 yards with a touchdown. Did not see the Patriots getting shut out. I did not see. Now, I was surprised that Gronk only had, I believe, 1 catch, and that is something that has to change. I mean, I believe he had no catches last week when they won against the Texans, if I'm not mistaken. But Gronkowski with 1 reception, 11 yards, and he's one of the biggest weapons in the NFL. That's got to be frustrating, not only for him, but, as a team, who your playmakers are. You have one of the best weapons in the NFL, and you're not utilizing them. But don't worry, Tom Brady will utilize that big goofy bastard. Next, you have the Falcons and the Panthers, and this is just where it got ugly. Falcons jumped out to an early lead, and at some point you would have figured they were going to stop passing, but they just kept putting it through the air. And why not? I mean, Julio Jones was an absolute monster this game. And Matt Ryan threw for 500 yards. 500 yards with 4 touchdowns. Freeman carried the ball 13 times, 57 rushing yards with the touchdown. Obviously, we know the tremendous day that Julio Jones had. On the opposite end, Derek Anderson, 17 for 23. And Cam Newton was 14 for 25. Derek Anderson came in through 2 touchdowns. Cam threw for 1. Whitaker had 9 receptions. Olsen was 6. Another frustrating thing is that Kelvin Benjamin, 3 receptions, 39 yards. Got to get him involved. Got to find a way. Got to find a way to get this man involved, man. The same way that they are horse feeding Julio Jones. Obviously, it's the right thing to do. Julio Jones has a better chance of catching a double coverage than most people do wide open. This man, Julio Jones, is a monster. And they will find a way to give him the ball. Even if it's a quick screen, just give the ball in his hands somehow, some way. And way too many times, people in the secondary will just, I just don't know what's going on with the Carolina defense. I mean, to see a team put up almost 50 against them, not something I would expect coming out of the from that defense. Because that defense last year is monstrous. And this year, they're just giving up points by the boatload. We have the Raiders defeating the Ravens. I believe I called this one too. I believe I called the Ravens losing. The Raiders end up winning 28-27, a very close game. Derek Carr with 4 touchdowns. Only 199 yards, but still threw in 4 touchdowns, and 3 of them going to the ex-49er Texas Tech man himself. And Michael Crabtree, 7 receptions, 88 yards, and 3 scores. He had one hell of a week. Steve Smith, old as hell, but still balling out, man. That man has so much heart. That man is so small, but still plays with so much passion. And I love Steve Smith, man. He is somebody that every single play is going to give his all. I love to watch Steve Smith play. 8 receptions, 111 yards with a touchdown. Joey Flacco, 32 for 52 with a touchdown, almost 300 yards. West had 113 yards and with the touchdown, and they end up losing by 1 point. I like the Raiders, man. I like what the Raiders got going on over there. The Chargers again. You can make a case. I skipped a whole bunch of games, but let's talk about the Chargers anyways. The Chargers, you can make a case, could be undefeated. Up 34-21 in the fourth quarter with ball. And they fumble. And the Saints come back and win that game. Again, you can make a case that this team should be undefeated. They were in each and every single game this year. I believe they led at every single point, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me in the comment section, but I believe you're going ahead, you're up 14 with ball, and what happens? Back-to-back fumbles. And the Chargers end up losing another game. Unbelievable. Drew Brees, 200 yards with 2 touchdowns. Ingram, 56 on the ground, added in a touchdown. He also was the team leading receiver, 6 receptions, 49 yards. Phillip Rivers, 2 touchdowns, 321 yards. Gordon, 2 rushing touchdowns with only 36 yards on 19 carries. Inman, my man Inman. Hey, I played him in Madden last year, and I beat him. I beat him with the Niners. He had 7 receptions for 120 yards with a touchdown. I mean, I just don't know what to say about these Chargers, man. The Lions versus the Bears, and this is I didn't see the Bears winning. The Bears just be out here looking terrible in all different types of ways. But they pull it together, and they end up winning 17-14. Hoyer, 302 yards with 2 touchdowns. Eddie Royal, 111 yards, added in a touchdown as well. Marvin Jones, who had a big week last week, 5 receptions, 74 yards. Matthew Stafford threw for 213, didn't get a touchdown. Riddick for 31 yards. Again, the Bears did not see them winning, but, maybe it's time to just let go of Jay Cutler and move on, man. As great as Jay Cutler can be, and again, I say this all the time, Jay Cutler shows glimpses of him possibly looking like he could be the best quarterback in the NFL. The best. I'm talking about not a single quarterback better than him. He has good pocket presence. He has, when he's doing good, he has, decent mobility. He has the arm of a rocket. And this man can sling it. The only problem is we only see that 1.5% of the time. The other 98.5% of the time, he's doo-doo. And it's like you see these glimpses of him just rocketing in 40-yard bombs, just throwing these passes, extending plays, looking great. Maybe 2 plays out of the entire game. He's like, where's that Jay Cutler? Why can that Jay Cutler be who you are? And unfortunately, he's just, I don't know, man. Maybe time to to move on for Chicago as they end up getting a victory. The Broncos Goomba stomped the Buccaneers 27-7, and the Bucs were able to score on first quarter, I believe the first drive, but then that was it after that. C.J. Anderson, 20 carries, 50 yards. We have Paxton Lynch, who threw for 14 out of 24. Now, they did have Simeon, who started the game, but only went 5 for 7 with the touchdown, and Paxton Lynch came in and had himself a pretty good game. Receiving, D. Thomas with touchdown, close to 100 yards, 6 receptions. Emmanuel Sanders, close to 10 receptions, close to 90 yards and a touchdown. Both of those guys have good games. And just the Buccaneers, just, Winston, who's been lighting it up, but it's a very tough defense when you go up against Denver. Only 179 yards, 17 for 34. So that's less than 50% on top of throwing 2 interceptions. So that right there definitely wasn't the outcome I'm sure they wanted. But again, Denver defense is monstrous. And at this point, they don't need a quarterback to go out here and be overly dominant. With that defense, as much pressure as they put on, you just need to do okay. Just don't turn the ball over. Just end every drive with a kick. Either punt, play the field position game, or kick field goals. And score when you can, obviously, but that defense is monstrous. We have the Rams overcoming the Cardinals 17-13. The Rams out here looking good, sitting alone in top of the NFC West, 3-1. Keenum, close to 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gurley still really hasn't gotten it going yet. Hasn't really been as dominant as we expect him to be. But you got Quick with only 2 receptions and making them both count, both of them being for touchdowns. The Cardinals, I don't know what's going on with the Cardinals, man. They were, a playoff contender when hopeful when the season started. Maybe even probably a lot of people's Super Bowl pick. A lot of high hopes for this team. They just haven't been able to get it together, man. Brown had a big game, 10 receptions, 144 yards. And David Johnson with 17 carries, close to 90 yards. Oh, and I closed out the scores. Give me 1 second. Okay, we talked about the Saints and Chargers, and last but not least, we had the 49ers and the Cowboys. The Cowboys barely win. So, let's go ahead and talk about the last story that we're going to discuss here. Is that it's been publicly announced that LeBron James endorses Hillary Clinton. Now, I've never voted in my life. I believe that I'm going to go on ahead and probably vote for the first time this year. Now, a lot of people are like, who are you voting for? Listen, I can't vote for Hillary. I just can't. This is just my opinion. So you're going to vote for Trump? I may not vote for him either. I may go on ahead and, isn't there somebody else available? I'm going to vote for the third party. But I cannot see Hillary as our president. I just can't. I don't know. I can't. Nothing against her being a female. I care less about that. But I just can't see her running the country. I mean, I can't see Trump doing it either. It's like, where do you go? It's like you got 2 morons and you have to choose one. This is the worst position this country may have ever been in, to the point that one of these goofballs is going to win. It's disgusting. One of them is going to win. I cannot vote for Hillary. I can't. No, there's nothing. I can't. I just can't. I just cannot. I can't do it for Trump either. I can't do it for Trump either, man. It's like, just the situation that we're in just is absolutely terrible, and it makes me worried of the future of this country, man. Let me see if I can get an official statement of what he actually said about about Hillary. Let me see. I see. It says LeBron James, the most influential person in major swing state of Ohio, endorses Hillary. Nobody needs to be endorsing neither of these candidates, man. Okay, here we go. I think we have a statement here. Why I'm endorsing Hillary Clinton. Okay, let's hear what he has. 2 years ago, I told you I was coming home to Northeast Ohio. I was born and raised. When I came back, I had two missions. In June, thanks to my teammates and all your support, I accomplished my on-the-court mission. We came back from being down 3-1 in the NBA Finals to finally grab what we've waited 52 long years for, a championship in Northern Ohio. Holding that trophy is beyond words. It still hasn't hit me. But for me, coming home was never just about basketball. As a kid, I didn't have much money. It was just my mom and me. You see that's how you know he didn't go to college, man. It's my mom and I. Nah. It was my mom and me, and things were rough at times. But I had basketball that gave me a family, a community, and education. That's more than a lot of children in Akron can say. There are a lot of people who want to tell kids who grew up like me and look like me that they just don't have anything to look forward to. This man is spitting the truth, man. That's dead wrong. And that's why I came back to Cleveland to continue my second mission. I am determined to make sure my kids in Akron have what they need to become their best selves. Opportunities, a support system, and safety net for kids in poverty or kids in single-parent households shouldn't be limited to those lucky enough to be blessed with an athletic talent. This man does so much for the community. Like you got to. If you are still hating on this man for not only what he does on the basketball court, which is a whole nother discussion, what he does off the court, which not too many people discuss, not too many people know about his charity donations and what he does and how many people he's sending to college and how just everything he does. Like this man is a true inspiration. When I entered the league, I founded the LeBron James Family Foundation. I didn't know at the time, but my mission has become clear. We give kids in Akron the resources and opportunities they need to stay in school and reach their dreams through education. I don't want to see any of them fall through the cracks. That easily could have happened to me. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, fall through the cracks is just being a statistic of your environment. You know, falling through the cracks, you know, like I happen to live in the ghetto myself still. You know, can't wait till this divorce gets over so me and my fiance can get married and we can finally get a house and get the hell up out of here. But you don't want to, you know, end up being on the street, you know, getting involved with drugs and not going to school and you know, finding illegal ways to make income. And, you know, that's just basically what it means, fall through the cracks. But I was fortunate enough to have support and mentors around me who kept me on the right path. That's what we're giving these kids through my foundation. And when someone believes in you, that changes everything. I'm so proud of more than 1,100 students in my Wheels for Education in Akron and I Promise Network program. We're working on year 6 now, and my kids have big plans for their futures. A lot of them didn't think college was for them, but now I hear they want to become something like doctors or business owners. We even have a future astrophysicist. What, physicist? Maybe I should have went to college. I can't wait to see how far these kids go. I also tell my kids how important it is to give back to the community. Because if basketball has taught me anything, is that no one achieves greatness alone. And it takes everyone working together to create real change. When I look at this year's presidential race, it's clear which candidate believes the same thing. Only one person running understands the struggles of an Akron child born into poverty. And when I think about the kinds of policies and ideas the kids in my foundations need from our government, the choice is clear. That candidate is Hillary Clinton. I support Hillary because she will build on the legacy of my good friend President Barack Obama. I believe that President Obama has done for our country and support her commitment to continuing that legacy. Like my foundation, Hillary has always been a champion for children and their futures. For over 40 years, she's been working to improve public schools, expand access to healthcare, and support children's hospitals and so much more. She wants to make sure kids have access to good education, no matter what zip code they live in. She'll rebuild schools that are falling apart and put more money into computer science. She'll make sure teachers are paid what they deserve so they can give everything to their students. It's disgusting on how much teachers get paid. Flat out disgusting. I agree that teachers have a very difficult job and are responsible for not responsible, because we are responsible for the type of dedication we put into school. But a good teacher can make a very big difference in somebody's life. If you happen to live in areas where you got good teachers, it could make such a big difference where you just don't understand the type of influence a very good teacher has. And teachers have a very big key and a very big part of responsibility of how our children are being taught and the lessons they learned. And it's very important that to me, school is the most important thing in life. That's what I tell my son all the time. School is the most important thing in life. Don't think about friends, don't think about girlfriends. All that stuff will come. See, I try to spit knowledge on young folks that I wish I took school more serious. You can literally become, in this country, or if you have freedom, if you live in Canada, you live in Germany, wherever you have freedom. I don't even know if Germany has freedom. That's why I should have went to college. But I'm pretty sure they're good over there. If you pay attention and literally pay attention to what they teach you, you can get good grades and you can get a scholarship to a school, and they will pay your way to become whatever it is you want to become. Now, in my situation, I didn't have the financial means to go to college. I didn't have the grades to get a scholarship or anything like that. Could I have gotten a scholarship? Absolutely. What did I have to do? Pay attention in school. Learn. Use those resources and knowledge to go on ahead and build my future. I spent a lot of time, horsing around and talking to my so-called friends. Do you know how many people I talked to outside of high school today? One. I talked to one person, and that's my best friend Omar, and we occasionally, talk. Other than that, I'll see people that I went to high school with, like, what's up, what's going on, but for the most part, one. Ask any old person, not saying that I'm old, but ask anybody who's done with high school. Ask them, ask your mother, ask your father, ask your uncles, how many people in high school do you still talk to right now? They're not going to tell you many. Like I tell my son, don't let anybody prevent you from getting an education. The person you're wasting time to talking, you're not going to talk to 5 years from now. Don't let that person take away what they're trying to teach you. Don't let that person take away from you getting an education and from you getting good grades, because good grades can set up a great future for you. All you got to do is listen. All you got to do is pay attention. All you got to do is dedicate yourself, and you will have yourself a future given to you if you do everything right. If you work as hard as you can into progressing into school. And teachers have a very big responsibility, man. And I agree. Teachers don't get paid enough. But back to what he's saying. Finally, wait, did I read this already? No. She also makes plans to make college a reality for people in America, especially for those who can't afford it. My kids in Akron are proof of the hope and motivation that come from knowing college can be in the future, no matter what obstacles they may be facing. Finally, we must address the violence in every kind the African American community is experiencing in our streets and seeing on our TVs. I believe rebuilding our communities by focusing on at-risk children is a significant part of the solution. However, I'm not a politician. I do not know everything it will take finally to end the violence. But I do know we need a president who brings us together and keeps us unified. Policies and ideas that divide us more are not the solution. We all must stand together. No matter when we are from or the color. I'm getting confused, all these words. No matter where we are from or the color of our skin. And Hillary is running on the message of hope and unity that we need. There's still a lot of work to be done in Akron, Northeast Ohio, and all across our great country. We need a president who understands our community and will build on the legacy of President Obama. So let's register to vote, show up to the polls, and vote for Hillary Clinton. I can't do it. I can't vote Hillary. I can't. I can't vote Trump either. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just gonna go in and see if there's a third party, which I believe there is. I'm not vote. I just may continue my no voting streak. I don't like either candidate. I'm gonna be honest. I don't. Not a single candidate I see that I like, that I feel confident in saying this is the person I want for my country. I don't know. I just don't see it, man. I don't know. But nonetheless, hopefully you guys enjoyed, man. Let me know in the comment section. What are you guys' thoughts on this episode? Hopefully you guys enjoy, and we'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed the conversation.